welcome back to The Interval, a musical theatre podcast. This week we're talking about a brand new musical called Maybe Happy Ending. You may recognise the name because it won 6 Tony Awards at the 2025 Tonys, being nominated for 10. It won Tonys for Best Musical, Best Book, Best Score, Best Actor, Best Direction, and Best Scenic Design. And today we're going to be digging into all of our thoughts about it and why you should go and see it if you are able to.
As Tyler just said, Maybe Happy Ending is kind of the big hit in Broadway right now. I'm going to give you a brief plot, but before I do that, a little bit of context. Maybe Happy Ending was a musical that originated in Korea in 2016. It ran for about 51 performances up until March 2017, before coming to pre-Broadway, in which Ashley Park played Claire, as in Ashley Park, the person who originated the role of Gretchen Wieners in Mean Girls. Such a good casting
so cool.
that I absolutely adore it. And it came to Broadway in 2024 on November the 12th with the, well, I was going to say main cast, but there isn't a main cast. There's only 4 characters. Oliver, played by Darren Criss of Glee fame. I don't know if we can say that, but we're going to. Claire was played by Helen J. Shen, who made her Broadway debut with this musical. James is played by Marcus Choi, who also played James in the off-Broadway production, and Gil Brentley is played by Des Duron. It's a musical about 2 retired helper bots who go on a journey to Jeonju, the biggest island in Korea.
These are robots, by the way.
Yes, these are helperbot robots. They go to Jeonju. One of them goes to see the fireflies, and the other one goes to try and find his former owner. And it's about what happens along the way and on the way back. I'm not going to spoil this musical. We will not spoil this musical until the end. So you can watch this with no worries that we are going to spoil it. I'm going to make my first major apology on this podcast. I've completely forgotten one of the main characters. Hwaboon, the plant, is played by Hwaboon the plant, the best character in this musical.
We love him. Everyone should have a Hwaboon.
I feel like we should give a little bit more context on the characters themselves, considering a lot of people listening won't have heard or seen the musical.
Yeah, should we take one at a time?
Yeah, do you want to start?
Oliver is our first main character. He's the first character we meet. As Jess said earlier, he is a helper bot. He is the former helper bot to a man called James.
He's a helperbot 3.
He likes his routine.
He's very awkward. He's very, very robotic.
To help with the context, Oliver resonated with me personally quite a lot.
I'm keeping all of those stutters in because that just heightens your point there.
Imagine if I was the robot and I was in a musical, and that's Oliver, I would say.
That would be it. Oliver's very sweet. He's kind of quite naive as well, on top of that, with the whole owner thing.
He's just in his room and he's waiting for the day that James comes back. Would you like to talk about the other main character?
Yeah, so the other main character is Claire, who is played by Helen J. Shen. As we said, this is her Broadway debut, and oh my god, what a debut it is. She's fantastic. So she plays Claire, who is a Helperbot 5, so a more advanced version of the Helperbots in some instances.
Yeah, she can do things that Oliver can't, so like she knows how to drive a car.
Yeah, she can drive and is better with improv. So she's a lot more free-form, a lot more not as robotic, not as rigid in her movements and in the way that she is. She's a lot more calm, a lot more easily annoyed. She was retired by her previous owners for reasons that we will get into in the spoilers part of this episode. All she wants to do is go and see the fireflies in Jeonju because they can light themselves up and they're like tiny little robot bugs and they love them and it's really cute.
When they get to Jeonju Island to try and find James, Oliver gets quite overwhelmed because everyone looks like James.
Oh my god, I literally have a note in my thing that says, not all humans look the same, that's offensive.
To not go into spoilers, they end up meeting James's son as well, who is played by the same actor, who is Marcus Choi. He does a great job in this. He's obviously running 2 tracks. They're both very different in personality.
The final human character is Gil Brentley, who is played by winner of The Voice, Des Duron. One of the things about Oliver and James is they both really love jazz. Gil Brentley is basically the personification of their love of jazz, and he comes on 4 times to sing versions of jazz that they would listen to, and it's kind of like an interlude situation mixed with like the actual playing of the music that they do. It's very clever.
Hwaboon the Plant is, of course, played by Hwaboon the Plant.
Hwaboon has an entry on the Wikipedia that just says himself. Darren Chris was saying that Hwaboon's a Nepo baby because it's like the second cousin of Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors.
Look, everyone needs to start somewhere.
Yep.
I support Hwaboon.
Those are the characters. Do you have any notes about the characters? For context, me and Tyler have listened to the soundtrack and watched the first preview that they ever did. DM us if you want to watch it.
My main notes are Oliver's Plant is my favourite character.
You know what my first note is? Hwaboon equals MVP of the show.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're on the same brainwave there.
My second note was, I love Claire. She's great.
Oh, I love Claire. She's so funny.
She's so funny. I also have Oliver is a mood when it comes to not properly socialising, which we established earlier. Oliver is me. I am Oliver.
I've written a note that says we love a socially awkward king for Oliver.
Yeah. The only other thing I said was they're so opposites attract.
Oh.
And I love it.
I love it. And I will say, like, a couple of things with the characters. With the Claire part, when I first started watching it, like I said, Claire is a lot more loose in her stage actions, whereas if you were like to picture a robot and like hold your hands down, that's what Oliver does. It's very like bunched up and tight. When I started watching it, I thought, she doesn't look like she's trying to be a robot as much, but I kind of clicked for me halfway through. She's more modern, so she's more loose. She's not trying to hide. She doesn't need to look like a robot, and it was just so clever. I have a note here that said, like, what's incredible about these actors is how well they manage to be humans playing robots playing humans. And I believed the whole thing. I could see the steps that they took to do it, and it was fantastic.
When they first meet, she basically runs out of battery momentarily. So she's frozen. And she stays in this like frozen position for a good few minutes. And it's so good. Like, he literally has to pick her up and bring her like into his apartment because she can't move. And then when she does like come back to life after she's charging, it's so because she stops talking in the middle of a sentence, and when he plugs the charger in, she just keeps going as if she's still in the middle of a sentence, and it blew my mind a little bit.
It's so clever, and because they're robots, obviously a couple of times what they do is they will repeat what the other person said in their voice, so the cast on stage just open their mouth and the sound plays a recording of what's just happened. But considering we watched the first preview, the timing was on point. There was a point where they were doing like a cup on a string. It was the cutest thing in the world. I actually died. And they're doing like phone noises into the cup on a string. It's so clever. I absolutely adored it. The guy who plays James, as we said, so Marcus Choi, outstanding. The relationship that Oliver and James have, because there's a couple of flashbacks that happen and scenes with them in it. That song, when Oliver and James first come together, I sobbed.
Yeah, we'll talk more specifically about it in spoilers.
One thing that really got me is how suave Gil Brentley is. In the one that we watched, they have to do a show stop, and he's just chill. He's just chilling out. I'd be having a mental breakdown, and he's fantastic. The characters were great, but Tyler, the stage.
Yeah, the staging and the set design is the best thing about this musical. It's outstanding.
I'm gonna say it's the best staging I've ever seen in a musical. In a show. Ever. In my life. Do you want to give a bit of context on kind of what the staging looks like?
They do it in like a boxed in way at the beginning, don't they?
Yeah.
So Oliver's room is very much like boxed in. This is one thing that I couldn't understand if they were doing it or not. Do they move the sets in and out?
Yeah, they move them in and out. If we were going to rate this, it would get a lot more stars because it's on a revolve. Yeah, the revolve like moves the rooms apart and together and blocks them. They
also use projection screens as well, and they're really clever. There's There's a bit at the beginning that I really liked where Claire knocks on Oliver's door and he doesn't want to answer it because he's awkward. So he asks for the peephole to show him like what's outside, and the peephole's a little screen. She's on the screen. It's really clever.
If you've ever seen Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime on the West End, very niche, I know. It's that kind of staging. It's very digital, obviously.
Not niche in this house. We love that book and play.
We love that play. Good. It's very much like that. I got those kind of vibes from it. And they like shutter. They keep the stage really closed off all the time. It's never opened out. And they use these like partitions that come together in such a way that they shutter boxes or they completely shutter down. It's outstanding. The only times they open up is when their mind expands or they're outside.
Oh, I love that, yeah.
I technically think the first time that the stage, you got the full extent of the stage was when she was explaining the fireflies, because I audibly wowed watching that. It expands in the expanse of the stage. It's all digital and it's explaining these fireflies in such a beautiful way. It's kind of how I picture Dear Evan Hansen to be in You Will Be Found. But my god, shout out to the set design and shout out to the people controlling that set, because the precision needed to do that. Amazing. Is them seeing the fireflies a spoiler? Surely not.
No,
Nah.
no, I don't think so. Yeah, I have a note on this. My note on this is just the band reveal and the set design.
I literally have,
in
oh
this
my god,
moment,
the orchestra with the fireflies.
Yeah, it's like the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen in my life.
What's so clever is when they go and see the fireflies, one of the characters comes out. I think it's Gil Brentley actually comes out with a conductor's wand.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
And on the end of it is a firefly, and he's being the firefly. And he turns around, the stage opens up, and he, as that firefly, I guess, is now conducting an entire orchestra of fireflies. That is also the orchestra.
And they're sitting like in this really beautiful like grass.
Yeah, and there's like lights everywhere.
Oh, it's amazing. And the stage is like everything is completely black.
Yeah, apart from the light of the fireflies. It's very rare that I find a musical that I don't want to skip any song. And at the moment, I don't want to skip a single one.
Oh, see, I have some skips.
What are your skips?
The main ones are like the jazzy ones. I really like them. His voice is amazing. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like in the context of watching the show, it flows really well. But in the context of the cast recording, I feel like it can take you out of it a little bit.
That's so interesting, because I think differently. I think the opposite.
Okay.
I like that first, because I listened to the cast recording first. The first song of Why Love, where it goes into the record style singing into the live sing. That was the moment where I thought, oh no, this musical is going to change my life.
It probably just needs to grow on me as a whole, and then I probably won't have that many skips, because I do really like this score overall.
It's such a beautiful score, and there's so many instrumentals in there that when I listened the first time, I was like, oh, this is really cute. It's a charger exchange ballet, because they're exchanging chargers. Who'd have known? And I was like, oh, this is cute. I don't really know what's going on. But when you see the show and you can picture what's happening as the music's playing again, oh, it's phenomenal. There's a point near the end where it's like quite rigid at the end, like stopping, and it's because you know why when you've seen the show. I have one song that I've listened to on. There is currently 444,000 listens, or 444,710. I'm the 710. That was me today. Where You Belong.
Yeah.
Can I give you a rundown of why this is the best song in the show? Nothing scratches my brain more than another character joining in on the story as the other character's telling it. And this song is basically Oliver explaining to Claire who James is to him, who his former owner is to him, and what it will mean when Oliver comes back to James in Jeonju. And as Oliver starts telling the story of what's going to happen when he's there, later find him in his reading chair, James comes onto the stage in that, and they begin to act it out. And the sound, the like softness of both of their voices combined is just the most beautiful thing. And there's a part in it where they both do the same choreography of like putting their hands out and putting one to their heart, and that was couldn't couldn't handle it. It's just so cute, and it's such a beautiful way of telling that story, and the song is just beautiful. If you want to know what this musical's about, that's one of the songs you should listen to, because it will give you the exact vibes, the cozy, cute vibes of this musical in 3.5 minutes. What about you? What's your favorite?
My main ones are Hitting the Road Part 1 and Hitting the Road Part 2.
So good. The bot
I
is
love
such a good
these.
beat. They're such bops.
Yeah, they're really fun. So Hitting the Road Part 1, that's just after Oliver and Claire agree to hit the road together. And Hitting the Road Part 2 is when they're finally in the car. And the melody is so good. They're short songs. They're really short. Hitting the Road Part 2 is like 40 seconds. But they're just so fun, and the humor comes through really well. There's like when Oliver gets in the car, one of the lines is like, "How much shit did you pack?"
Oh, that cracked me up. That's so funny.
And it's just really cute. They're just excited. My other one, Then I Can Let You Go.
I knew we were going to align on one. What a beautiful song.
It's amazing.
Oh, it's one of the best love songs I've heard in a long time. There's a power lightning sign on Oliver's shoes, and when he puts his shoes up on Claire, you can see little lightning signs, like you know when you're charging your phone, that little lightning sign that comes up, that's on his bottom of his shoes. What a fantastic little like attention to detail from the design, or from the costume design. The rainy day we met.
So as they're in the car, they've realised that they can't go around and tell people they're helper bot. So they decide to pretend that they're humans, and they create like a fake backstory for themselves with like fake identities. So they decide to, like, anyone they meet, they're gonna pretend that they're a married couple. And this song is like them recounting the like fictional version of how they met and fell in love. Darren Chris's vocals when he I can't remember the lyric.
Oh,
but
I can. I've written it down.
Okay.
And we danced in the subway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is it. Oh, his voice, so good.
It's also just really funny as well, because like he's describing how she looked, and he's like, you wore a bright red raincoat that magic day. She's like, no way I would choose red for a raincoat. Your beautiful red fur hat took my breath away, and now you're just describing Santa. There's a point as well that's like a real testament to how well she is at acting. There's a point where they repeat the same words and they start laughing, and she completely snaps out of the laugh into complete serious singing, and it's so like the crowd were laughing. It was so jarring. It was fantastic. I will also say I really like the song Jenny from Des Durnan.
Yeah, that is really nice. Yeah.
It's such a nice song. I have had that on repeat quite a bit today.
The music, the cast, the set and the staging, they're all fantastic in this show. There's a reason this show won the best book. The dialogue is hilarious. It's so funny. Do you have a favourite dialogue exchange? Because I do.
When they first meet in their room, and he's obviously so socially awkward, and he's explaining how like the helper bot 5 has a really crap charger and she's taking offence to it. I just think the way that they portray the socially awkwardness and like the sassiness of it is so good in that scene. And it's very, you get a full taste of the characters from the dialogue in the first 5 seconds that they meet. Oh, I do have one. I do have a specific. It's the conversation between Oliver and the mail chute. And that sounds really silly, but he's constantly asking for James, and it's the we've ceased production on this on this part. Would you like a replacement? Yeah, there are no replacements. I really like that because in such a short time, the mail flies down a chute and he has to catch it. That would stress me out as an actor. But B, you instantly get, okay, he's asking about James all the time and he's breaking down, and now there's no way of fixing him anymore. So there's a lifespan. There's a slight little.
It also gets across his naivety. My favourite bit of dialogue was when they stop at the hotel and they go to check in, and Oliver's got like a credit card at one point, and the guy behind the desk goes, "Will you be charging this?" And he sort of turns and looks at Claire and goes, "This is my wife."
That was so funny.
And it's so good.
I love it. I love that bit so much.
Yeah, that was my favourite bit of dialogue.
Claire during the show, she doesn't make a big deal of it, but she figures out that if you say thank you to a Helperbot 3, they say you're welcome. They're programmed to say it. And she keeps prodding that one throughout the show. And he says thank you to her and she doesn't repeat you're welcome, and he looks physically pained. What did you think about this musical before you listened to it? Because I think I messaged you and said, oh my god, this has won so many Tonys, and also Darren Criss has finally won a Tony, this is great. We didn't really know though, did we?
No, it was completely under our radar until the Tonys. I enjoyed it when I listened to it. I thought it was, I thought the soundtrack was solid. I didn't love it, but then I watched it and I was like, wow, I love this. For me, like, just listening to it didn't really completely sell it.
It was the actually watching the show that really sold this for me.
Yeah, no, I feel absolutely the same. I'm really glad that we were able to watch it in the way that we did, because I wouldn't appreciate it as much as I do if I hadn't. So
like, how do you feel about it now that you've seen it and listened to it?
Oh, it's great. I really, really like it. I hope it transfers.
When I was watching this, I went, I know what theatre that needs to be in. And I've written here, Tyler's not going to like it because it means something's got to go. It needs to be in the same theatre that they did Curious Incident. That's the Gielgud Theatre, the one that Oliver's in right now.
Oh, no.
But you got to hear me out with this one. You got to hear me out. That intimate stage, because you can't put it in somewhere like the Colosseum. You need, because it's boxed off and there's literal tiny, tiny boxes that are like door height in the stage. Everyone needs to be able to see it, and no stage can do that like the Gielgud stage. As they did in Curious Incident, if you haven't seen it, Google the staging of Curious Incident and Google the staging of Maybe Happy Ending. You'll see what I'm on about. It would fit so perfectly there. I don't know about you, but I think it might be time for some spoilers. Spoilers are incoming. Give it, I want to say 10 minutes.
One of the kind of first big spoilers, I would say, is when they get to Jinju Island. They actually learn that James has died.
They find out via his son.
Yeah, James was ill, and he knew he was ill, and he knew he was dying. So he went back to Jinju Island, and he didn't take Oliver with him, basically, because he didn't want Oliver to know that he was going to die. And there's a flashback that happens. He says something to the effect of, what do you feel when you think of our memories together, Oliver? Like, do they make you feel happy? And Oliver goes, yes, of course, they make me feel very happy. And James says something like, good.
Yeah, ineffective, we'll keep it that way then. The son basically is explaining that, like, he doesn't like Oliver because Oliver was like a son to James and forgot about his actual son. And we do get some flashbacks at the end, because the son comes back to Oliver and is like, I want my dad's memories. I want the memories that you have of my dad. I want to see him. I miss him. It's just so sad seeing that, like, devastation from his son. I think he says, like, I resent the man, but I still miss him. I still wish he was alive.
Yeah.
Shall I give some context on what happens at the end for people who want to know?
Yes, please.
What actually happens in the entirety of the show is they go to Ginger Island and Oliver finds out that James is dead and obviously therefore is retired. They go and have a look at the fireflies. Basically, they end up falling in love. It's very lovely. Until, obviously, Claire, being the one who was borrowing Oliver's charger, starts to deplete, and it becomes apparent that she has about a year and he has about a year and a half left until they malfunction and die, in their sense. So what they choose to do, instead of suffering through the death of each other, they choose to wipe their memories of each other and their entire journey that they've just been on and start again, and don't fall in love.
I love this moment because they essentially say, it's sad that we won't remember each other, but it's not sad because we still got to fall in love.
Yeah.
Like, even though they're going to forget the experience, they still got to have it. And that absolutely broke me because I thought it was beautiful.
There's a point where they say, like, you know, we're lucky. Humans don't get to do this. They don't get to forget this kind of thing. It's left very ambiguous at the end. It's very much hinted that Oliver did not wipe his memories. He's given his password by the son as a thank you for the memories, which means that he can override and delete his memories. We don't know if Claire wiped her memories or not. It's left very ambiguous.
At the end, sort of goes full circle. We go back to Oliver in his room, and he's in his like daily routine again. And then he gets a knock on the door, and it's Claire saying, "Can I borrow your charger? I'm about to run out of battery." Which is what happens at the beginning. And as they're chatting, he leans over to Hwaboon and goes, and just goes, "Don't tell her."
Yeah.
And it's
Don't tell her that we know. One of the main parts of her storyline is the fact that she used to be owned by a woman who fell in love with a man, and the man ended up falling in love with Claire. Now, some people I've seen think that Claire loved him back. I don't think she did in the slightest. I think
No,
it was
I don't-
completely unrequited.
I don't think she did.
No, I don't think she did. She clearly has such a distrust over love. But that's my thing, because she has that, and obviously then she has her song What I Learned from People, which is heartbreaking. But that tells me she doesn't, at the beginning she really does not think love is a thing that you should experience. Then she falls in love with him. But I think she has she's so convinced that it's gonna end the same way. And it will always end in sadness. Love always ends in sadness. That's the moral of this story. Whether it's death or whatever, it always ends. I think she does. That's the easiest way to solve the problem. She was going to wipe her memories because she didn't want him to feel like... She didn't want him to know that she was dying. She didn't care that she knew she was dying. I don't know, but I love how ambiguous that is. And I really liked the fact they didn't hang on to James's death that much. He didn't mourn him, and I didn't think he should have mourned him because he's a robot. They don't experience death in the same way that we would. Hopefully, if you didn't want spoilers, you've come back to the right place. If you have, that's really good timing for you because we're going into the non-spoiler stuff now. This show is exactly 90 minutes, but it doesn't have an interval. And a question that we've written down here is, how do you feel about shows without an interval? I really like shows without an interval. I think we should have more, if I'm being honest. I kind of get the whole, people don't feel like they're getting their money's worth because they're not there for, 3 hours. Which is, it's fair enough. You're kind of only doing the first act of a show. But on the other hand, it's almost the equivalent of watching, say, Avengers Endgame or, this really emotional movie and then pausing it halfway through and spending 15 minutes getting some snacks kind of takes you out of it. Whereas this show, you're locked in the entire time. The whole story is told to you in one go. And I think it's really effective not having an interval in certain shows, and this is one of them.
I'd say the only possible downside to a show with no interval, in my opinion, would be if people need to go to the toilet frequently.
That's a really good point. But I do just think shows like this that just allow you to really tell the story the whole way through without stopping is the equivalent of reading a book without stopping. You don't get any break. You're completely in that world, and there's no entering or re-entering. What did you think of Maybe Happy Ending? What are your final thoughts? Without a score, because we said we can't really score this because we haven't actually seen it live.
I think this show is really great. I think it's a bit of a breath of fresh air. I can completely see why it basically swept the Tonys. I loved it a lot. I will be seeing it when it transfers to the West End because I can't wait to see all that set design. But what are your final thoughts?
Pretty much the same. I could not fault this musical. I think it's very rare that we get a musical that is just almost a 10 out of 10 in every single space, in the costumes, staging, characters, cast, music, length, all of it, and story. It's funny, it's easy to understand, the acting is incredible, the staging is outstanding, it's heartbreaking but heartwarming at the same time, and it's just incredibly emotional, and it's a perfect culmination of all of the above. What are you holding space for this week? And is it Hwaboon? And if it's not, we're both holding space for Hwaboon.
This week, I'm holding space for Dexter Resurrection. Dexter, if anyone doesn't know, Dexter was a drama that premiered in the mid-2000s. It was about a blood splatter analyst called Dexter Morgan who works at the Miami Metro Police Department. But the big exciting twist of the series is that Dexter moonlights as a serial killer. A few years ago, there was a limited series called Dexter New Blood. The finale was very poorly received by the fan base. So now they have resurrected Dexter, hence Dexter Resurrection. And I'm really excited to watch it. What are you holding space for this week?
Because I'm holding space for a particular song in Death Becomes Her, the also hit musical in Broadway that hasn't come to the West End. If you haven't listened to it, you should really check it out. It's called The Plan, and it's basically Ernest coming up with a plan to reattach the neck of one of the ladies. And it's the funniest song. It's so funny, it's so panicked, and he gets really drunk and he starts slurring his words, and it's really, really funny. And also highly recommend listening to Death Becomes Her. It's also a really good musical. Next week, I will have seen My Neighbour Totoro, the current play in the West End, with this obviously built on the Studio Ghibli film. And I'm very excited. So we're going to be doing my review, much like we did Harold Fry on episode 25. So tune in. In the meantime,
Water Hwaboon.
Water Hwaboon, but not robots.